Hi, Dale here. I'm going to do a video, a unique video, a special topic on this one, and it's about Jesus. I'm doing it about Jesus because I really want to give another perspective about Jesus because there are so many stories out there and reactions to Jesus from in Christian religion and people who aren't Christian at all, just about the character, the person, the being. And I'm not going to try and tell you right or wrong about Jesus, but I am going to explain how I see Jesus, and hopefully that will give some new insight on the conversation, and perhaps something maybe you're looking for. If you have no interest in this, then don't listen to this video. You know, that's fine. I'm not saying you have to have an interest in Jesus. I'm just saying that the presence of Jesus, the name of Jesus, the idea of Jesus in the world, and especially in Christianity, is so large and it's so diverse as far as how people think about it. And in a lot of ways, I think it's thought of very superstitiously. And I want to talk about, so I'm going to explain how I deal with Jesus and how that has happened to me, because I think for the most part it'll probably be kind of different. I haven't heard too many people that have something similar to this, but maybe they do. I don't know. I have been in a partnership, in relationship with what I consider the presence of Jesus, or the Christ, but Jesus Christ. Since I was small, very small. And I didn't know what it was when I was really young. I just had this over sense that there was something watching over me. And as I got older, I didn't focus on it so much, but it was always there, kind of like always there, until the only time when I really started to focus a little bit was when I was getting ready to go into the military. And my father's father, who was a Jesus Christ man, I didn't know that. He never really even talked to me about Jesus. He talked to me a lot of things as I was growing up, but not about religion or Jesus, never. It was all about object lessons, things like that. But when I was going into the military, and he was a former military man, he pulled me aside and talked to me about Jesus. First time, I was about like 18 and getting ready for boot camp. And he told me that if ever I should get in trouble, that in a nutshell, he said, Dale, if you ever get in trouble, really, and you're over your head and you don't know what to do, he said, call out his name and he will come to you and he will help. And I put that aside, I put that away, and it was a little cryptic, but I put it away. I believed my grandfather, and a number of times within the next 10 years, three to be I can think of exactly. I was over my head in certain things, and I called for his name, and his presence came to me, and it was very different than I have always had the sense of God, the presence of God in life. I know what that's like in a deepening sense, but I'd never had the experience of Jesus until then. And so with that said, Jesus has been, ever since then and before, he's been a part of my life. And I say that kind of like hesitantly, because his presence is not like a person, yet I treat it like a person. I mean, in my mind, here's a man who was a master of the universe. He was fully realized, and he came to the earth, and he was enlightened, and he was a master of the universe. And first of all, that interests me. Someone who's a master of the universe. I want to talk to them. I want to sit beside them, and I want to be in their presence. I want to know what they know. And and I knew this wasn't his Jesus. I could feel that from the presence. And so I was always very open to that presence, even when I didn't have real, specifically tangible ways that I saw that. Later on in life, I started to have a few of those tangible evidences, which I could speak to maybe later. But his presence always meant a lot to me. And I always found him near me. I've gone through three significant, I'm going through one right now that I'm getting far into and actually really growing through, and I'm much more beautiful than any one I've ever gone into, of what I call dark nights of the soul, where they start out, and they're really painful, but it's because of holding on to things. And then you let go. You start letting go of things, that beliefs that they seem like core beliefs. This one that I'm going through right now is definitely a core belief, because it has to do with my accepting myself as God, as the light of the world, as not just a friend of Jesus, but his brother, walking with him. The concept of self that I was named, and the role that I play in this world is just, that's what it is. And I've known that for some time, that's who I am and who I'm not, that I am the observer. I'm the one that watches the whole thing. I'm not the one that's thinking about it, that's doing all the, that's in the world and of it. I'm the one that, while that personality part of me is playing like it's in the world and not of it, and I have a name and have roles and stuff like that, and at times have believed that the world was so very, very serious, and I had to that I was subject to it, and that it was a threat to me, and I had to overcome it, and I had all these challenges. There was that time. That was the sense of self. All along, I could still watch that. As a minister, I speak, and I speak from some of my self-experience, but I channel it. I don't know what I'm going to say. I haven't, for years and years and years and years, I don't know what I'm going to say. When I speak, I go up naked. I don't have any idea what I'm going to say, and I let the Spirit speak through me, and I channel it, and I watch it. It comes through me, and that comes from, and I watch it, because I can see it coming through me, and I can speak it, but it just does what it does. And that part, that part of that, Jesus, I believe, for me, he was this perfect awareness of that, of what I would call the I am. The Christians and everybody at that time, they called him the Christ, and he addressed himself as the Christ, but I think he did that more for teaching purposes, to tell people. I don't think he addressed him. I don't think when he looked within himself and was saying, I am, that he said, I am the Christ. No, he said, I am. I believe he said the same thing that all of us say when we're in this place of awareness of who we are, and that is, all you can say is, I am, not I am something. It's like, I am. When you get it, you go, I am. You're in the world and in the present moment, and I am. He is that I am. And but also there's something about his humanness in his presence. Like, he has walked this path that we all walk, and he walked the path of suffering too. I mean, he suffered too. I mean, if you look at his story, particularly when the crucifixion, when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's got his disciples there, but then they're falling asleep, and he's basically praying to God, and he's saying, hey, God, he called him Father, or called the presence Father. I don't think of it as a person, but he called the presence Father, and he said, if possible, take this away from me. This is the eve of his crucifixion, the torture and the crucifixion. And he said, if you would take this away from me. Okay, I guess I'm at the end of this video, so I'm going to start another one.